Thomas Sankara was a remarkable figure in African history. He served as the president of Burkina Faso from 1983 until his tragic assassination in 1987. Sankara's presidency was characterized by his progressive and revolutionary policies, which aimed to transform Burkina Faso into a self-reliant and socially just nation. During his time in power, Sankara implemented a range of reforms to uplift the lives of the Burkina Faso people. He prioritized gender equality, education, healthcare, and agricultural self-sufficiency. Sankara believed that empowering individuals and communities was crucial for the overall development of the nation. One of Sankara's notable initiatives was the Village Revolution, which aimed to decentralize power and bring the government closer to the people. He strongly advocated for the grassroots democracy and encouraged local communities to actively participate in decision-making processes. Tragically, Sankara's life was cut short when he was assassinated in a coup which was led by his associate. Despite his untimely demise, Sankara's legacy continues to inspire many Africans and beyond. His unwavering commitment to social justice, self-reliance, and Pan-Africanism remain an important part of African history.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing.
And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
My name is Tao Familoni, and here is to VOP TV. Keep watching, stay tuned, do not touch that dial.
Arararara, my name is Made Kuti, and you're watching BOP TV. Keep watching.
Welcome, my name is Zika Davis. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys, viewers, everybody, boys and girls. This is VOP TV. Do you know what that means? Voice of the People TV. You don't have a voice, don't come here. You better make sure your voice is heard.
Well, hello and welcome to the Midday News and Voice of the People Television. I am David Edwin. First, the headlines. Court affirms Nenadi Usman's committee orders INEC recognition. CAN condemns abduction of Kaduna worshippers. ADC opposes release of 70 suspected bandits. Sanusi urges Governor Yusuf to sign death warrants. Ogun State government suspend Awujale selection. Ondo government seals collapsed building site. INEC begins PVC distribution from January the 22nd. In the world of business, NCC grants license to 6 ISPS. And in sports, Gusau denies clash with CAF vice president. In the world of entertainment, Hilda Bassi sets a third Guinness World Record. And now the news in full. A court in Abuja has ruled, Federal High Court in Abuja has ruled that Justice Peter Lifu has confirmed the Nadi Usman-led caretaker committee as the valid leadership of the Labour Party and ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission to recognize them. Further details will follow in our subsequent bulletin. Meanwhile, the Kaduna State chapter of the Christian Association of Nigeria has condemned the recent mass abduction of Christian worshippers in Kajuru local government area. On Sunday, January the 19th, 2026, about 170 worshippers were kidnapped from 3 separate church services. 6 victims managed to escape, returning home with injuries sustained during the attack. The state's CAN chairman, Reverend Caleb Maaji Bawa, described the abduction as regrettable, shameful, and disappointing, praying for the safe return of all those kidnapped and for divine intervention to end the wave of kidnappings and other crimes across the country. He also called on citizens to collaborate with government and security agencies to expose criminal elements in the society. Moving on, the African Democratic Congress has condemned plans by Governor Diko Rada's administration to release 70 suspected bandits in custody. The opposition party described the move as dangerous, unjust, and a betrayal of victims across frontline local government areas. Speaking in Katsina State, ADC spokesperson Lawar Toko Batagarawa warned that freeing the suspects would undermine public confidence in the fight against insecurity, demoralize security personnel, and embolden criminals terrorizing rural communities. Meanwhile, the United States mission in Nigeria has expressed condolences to the family of Abubakar Abdullahi, the Muslim cleric who sheltered about 300 Christians during the 2018 Plateau attacks. Abdullahi, chief imam of Ngar village in Barkin Ladin, died at 92. In a statement, the U.S. mission described him as a courageous voice for religious tolerance, noting his actions during the crisis exemplifies compassion and peaceful coexistence. The late cleric was nominated for the Member of the Order of the Niger, acknowledged by former President Buhari, and received the 2019 U.S. International Religious Freedom Award for risking his life to protect others. Abdullahi often said that saving lives was a moral duty guided by compassion and respect for humanity. Elsewhere, the Emir of Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II, has urged Governor Abba Yusuf to sign the death warrant of convicted murderers, saying capital punishment would deter future crimes. The monarch made the appeal following the Saturday killing of housewife Fatima Abubakar and her 6 children. Sanusi also called for the speedy trial of suspects, stressing that once convicted, the governor should authorize their execution without delay. He condemned the attack as barbaric and senseless, describing it as a tragic reflection of society's failure to ensure justice and capital punishment. And in the southwestern part of the country, the Ogun State government has suspended the selection of a new Awujale of Ijebuland, citing rising tensions, petitions, and security concerns. The directive was issued by the State Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Ganiyu Hamzat, to the chairman of Ijebu Day Local Government. The Awujale stool, a revered traditional institution in Yoruba land, was last occupied by Oba Sikiru Adetono, who reigned for 65 years, elevating the throne's stature. Hamzat said the ongoing selection has drawn intense public scrutiny due to the late monarch's legacy, as well as petitions and reports from security agencies and stakeholders, prompting urgent government intervention under the Obas and Chiefs Law of Ogun State 2021. Well, still in the southwestern part of Nigeria, the Ondo State government has revealed and sealed off the site of a collapsed two-story building in Adigbola, Akure. The Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, Sunday Olajide, said the government will investigate the cause of the collapse to prevent future incidents. Olajide warns contractors against using substandard building materials, stressing that such negligence can lead to loss of lives and properties. He noted that no lives were lost, though several workers were injured, and said further actions will follow on the investigation's findings. Moving on, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, will begin distributing permanent voters' card across the Federal Capital Territory on Thursday, ahead of the February 21st area council election. INEC says 128,396 PVCs will be handed directly to owners, not by proxy. The FCT resident electoral commissioner Aminu Kashimu Idris told reporters in Abuja that collection will continue at INEC area council offices after the initial distribution. Available PVCs include those of newly registered voters, transfer within the FCT, replacements for lost or defaced cards, and uncollected cards from previous exercises. You're still watching the Midday News right here on Voice of the People Television. We'll go straight to the analysis segment of the news. And joining us now to make sense of these stories and more in the studio with us is Barrister Darlington Agumor. Barrister Darlington is a legal practitioner right here in Nigeria and also a public and political affairs analyst and commentator. Barrister, a very good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, David. How are you?
I'm fine, very well, thank you. How are you doing as well?
I'm okay.
All right, then. Joining us also virtually is Eugene Osigwe, a public and political affairs analyst and commentator as well. Mr. Eugene Osigwe, very good afternoon to you and welcome to the analysis segment of the Midday News.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to be with you this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for joining the conversation. Well, let me start off with you, Mr. Eugene. Interestingly, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has said that collection of permanent voter cards across the Federal Capital Territory ahead of the February 22nd area council election is on the way. And they've said about 128,000 PVCs will be handed directly to the owners and not by proxy. What do you make of this situation, particularly on INEC's readiness for elections in the FCT? I'm talking about ahead of the elections, the FCT council elections in the FCT.
Well, thank you for your question. If you look at INEC, this PVC issue is a recurring decimal. It appears that when election is very close, they come up with this announcement of PVC available to registered voters. But what I don't understand is why we have to make a big deal of it. Because this is the entitlement of every Nigerian who is qualified to vote, to walk into any INEC office and have his PVC registered. So, like the past experiences we've had, I hope this one will be different. But although, fingers crossed, let's see how they're able to manage this under the new leadership of the INEC chairman. But subsequently, we know what the story is. The process is made so difficult to disenfranchise genuine voters. Let's hope that this one will be different.
Well, that has been the concern of genuine voters across Nigeria, and the FCT is not an exception in all of this. But again, I still want to stay with you on this same situation. You did say earlier, why do we want to make a fuss out of all of this? But interestingly, as it stands, 128,000 Nigerians are yet to collect their PVCs for an election that is in less than a few days from now. Again, the busy part of Nigerians on first election of the year. And of course, to think that the year started and people are going all about their business, not even thinking of wanting to go collect their PVCs. Is that a possibility that some Nigerians might be disenfranchised as a result of not getting their PVCs, even though INEC has said PVCs will be handed over to the direct owners directly? Should you take that word?
When you look at the logistics for this thing and the bureaucratic process, I don't see what is new, what will happen differently from past experiences. Commuting is becoming increasingly difficult because of a high cost of movement.
Right.
And going to INEC offices to go and pick your registration requires some effort and some funding reasonably. So there will be some degree of disenfranchisement, and given the voters' attitude towards the behavior of political parties these days, that you will now have almost one political party in the country. So I don't see the motivation of somebody now wanting to say, let me stress myself, take time off to go and get my voter's card, when people are already saying that the outcome of the result is already known. So why need to vote? So they have to do more than this announcement. They have to find a way of convincing Nigerians that there is need for them to get their PVC, and then the election will indeed be what Nigerians will expect.
All right,
but it will be a tall order trying to convince Nigeria at this stage.
Quite a major statement you've made there. Let's bring this conversation to the studio. Barrister, just a couple of seconds ago, you did hear Mr. Eugene say it would be a tall order trying to convince Nigerians at this stage, because Nigerians are still trying to grapple with what they would, eat and fend for their families for. And then you're talking PVC, and then you're talking election come February the 11th. From your position, Barrister, FCT INEC has said, look, 128,000 PVCs are with us, and we would see how best we can give it to Nigerians directly. Should we celebrate the fact that INEC is saying PVCs are ready for collection? Nigerians, come get your PVC. Let your votes count come February the 21st in the FCT.
The ball is now in the court of the owners of those PVC. They are now calling you to come and collect it so that you can vote. The ball is now in their court. Let them go and collect their PVC, because that is the beginning of a credible election. You need to vote to know whether the election is credible or not. So you go and collect your PVC. They are beckoning on you now. It's just for you to go and collect. If you now go there and they did not give you, please let us know. Raise it up. Go to the media and talk about it. If you go there and they didn't give you your PVC, then raise the alarm so that we know whom to call out. But you must have your PVC for you to vote.
All right, the Barrister, how much of voter education do Nigerians truly need at this time? Owing to the fact that the last general election, according to some young Nigerians, was a disappointment to them, and they do not believe in the system anymore. How much of voter education does Nigerians need at this point to be able to regain that confidence, to wanting to truly cast their vote and believe that their vote is going to count at the very end?
Now, INEC need to reassure Nigeria, because a new sheriff is in town in INEC. The new INEC chairman, the Professor Joe Shabi.
Yes.
Good. We need to give him a benefit of that here, when he gave us all the assurances and all that. So it is now time to test his will and the statement he made to us. That is the only way we can now say, okay, I think things are beginning to change. But as for rigging and the flawed election, it must come to an end one way or the other. That's the truth. By the time the Western world start rejecting leaders who came into office through election rigging, through flawed election and all that, they will sit up.
Now, Barrister, as regard testing his will and his promises made, and I'm talking on the part of the chairman of INEC now, the new sheriff, like you did call him, would his words stand for anything when there is no seemingly electoral reform as concerning the laws guiding our elections, not only on the part of beavers working, and of course having a law stating that, look, if this is not going to work, elections would not be recognized to this level. Electoral reforms is what I'm talking about right now. Should his words really mean something really strong for Nigerians to hold on to, as against what should be law that Nigeria should hold on to?
I don't see why the INEC chairman should fail. I don't see why, because all the T's have been crossed, all the I's have been dotted. They are released over 1 trillion naira for him. So what is the problem? There's no need for him to fail here. And that's the truth, because what happened the last time, Nigerians are still grappling with it. So I wouldn't want Nigerians to vent their anger on this INEC chairman because of what the former INEC chairman did. And so he must be very, very careful. This is the test of his willpower to do the right thing. He must be very, very careful, because they have stretched Nigerians' patience to the extreme. That patience should not burst out on him. That's what I'm saying here.
All right, then. Let's bring it to a particular point that is your forte, Barrister. Interestingly, ruling from the Federal High Court in Abuja has just been confirmed as Justice Peter Lifu has affirmed the Nenadi Usman-led caretaker committee as the valid leadership of the Labour Party, and of course ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission to recognize them. Barrister, looking at this particular ruling, what do you make of this going into elections, general elections basically, with the Labour Party?
It is the right thing to do, because the Supreme Court have earlier made pronouncement on the same leadership tussle in the Labour Party, where they disowned Abure.
Yes.
Good. So this particular ruling now is a validation of what has already been said. And the good thing here is that it now gives P2B have now a choice to make. If they cannot accept him in ADC, he can still go back to the party that made him and the party he made. That's the truth. Because Dati Ahmed is saying that P2B is welcome if he can come back. He said it. So with this ruling now, the course is clear. That is just the truth. That is, if P2B cannot be accepted in ADC, he has a place they are beckoning on him to come. That's the advantage here.
All right, then. Let's take this conversation to Mr. Eugene. Again, like I mentioned earlier, this ruling by the Federal High Court as concerning the leadership of the Labour Party, do you think this will bring to an end, total end, the internal rancor within the Labour Party? And then what do you think might just be the way forward for the party that gained serious limelight in the 2023 general election? Mr. Eugene, are you there?
Yes, I said the most difficult thing for you to predict is how a human being is going to behave the next minute. Yes, the court has given their ruling. The one section is jubilating that they are ruling. The position has been confirmed as the true leadership of the party. But again, the dynamics of how the human nuances is going to play out on the long run is yet to be foreseen.
Okay.
So let's hope, as Mr. Darlington has said, that the Labour Party will put its house in order and be able to at least support the candidate whom actually made the party. It's not the party that actually made the past presidential candidate of the party, and support him and give him their support all the way if they are convinced that he is the right person to be there. So the factor we should be wary of is the nuances of the human behavior. in any circumstances. That cannot be foretold in advance.
Okay, now you just spoke about the nuances, and then the question that comes to mind is, would the Labour Party choose, should the ADC decide to have Peter Obi as the presidential candidate? Now, we're just talking off the book now. Would the Labour Party decide to have to join this coalition to becoming stronger as against what every other person is envisaging as well?
Well, I think the confirmed leadership of the Labour Party is in full support of Peter Obi's candidacy of the party, his leadership of the party. Then now he has moved with to ADC. If ADC gives him the platform to run, I think the right thing to do is for Labour Party to support their own. First, they have to amend fences with the Aburi faction of the party and see how best they can ensure that they don't lose members at this critical time. So that will be the working dynamics of the new leadership of the confirmed leadership of the Labour Party under Namandi. And that should be the focus now since election is coming out. So they have a candidate in front of them, a candidate who is seeking another platform that he can have a wider spread and have a platform to actually contest and compete in the next coming election. So the first thing they have to do is to ensure that those who the court has confirmed should find a way of mending fence with those who have the court has said they are not the right ownership or leadership of the party.
Okay.
So that should be the thing they have to do. And so they don't lose grounds, they don't lose momentum, and they don't lose followership and membership.
All right, then, but again, I'm still going to stay with you, Mr. Eugene. There's been the accusation of the fact that there are moles set into almost every political party in the country by the ruling All Progressive Congress. Now, again, I say these are allegations by even members of some of these opposition parties. But from these particular directive from the courts now, is this a sign of the fact that truly there are no moles anymore in the Labour Party? Because again, the Abure-led faction was said to be working with the ruling party, and now there is a court judgment. Should this clearly be a statement indicating that the moles in the opposition is clearly not in the opposition before now?
Well, I think it would be a serious disadvantage if the confirmed faction of Labour Party thinks that even within them they don't have moles. This is politics, and politics is a game of trying to win an election. And in our own context, especially, every method and every tactic is permissible so long as you are able to win the election. So they have to be extra vigilant and ensure that, well, while they are opening their arms to reconcile, they should also be aware that politics in Nigeria, everything and anything is possible. So they should not rule out saboteurs even amongst them. So that is how they are going to manage that, how they're able to manage that will determine the fate of the party on the long run.
All right, then. Let me bring this conversation back to the studio. Barrister, at this point, I'm not even talking about party politics anymore. I want to talk about the situation that it happened just some few days ago. I'm talking about the 170 worshippers that were kidnapped in Kaduna State. This, again, coming from the backdrop of the fact that we've seen both the state government and, of course, security operatives say there is no level of kidnapping of this rate in the states that happened on Sunday. Now, Christian Association of Nigeria is coming to say that, yes, there was this level of kidnapping in Kaduna State. Barrister, how do we juxtapose information gathering and verifiable facts from both the part of the government and, of course, the people themselves who are victims of this situation?
Anybody who lost APC should tell them to stop lying. This government came in with lies and propaganda, and they have continued. I don't see how such a monumental event can happen, and somebody is trying to deny it. Both the state and local government in that area, We are trying to say nothing happened. There was no kidnapping. Until the Christian body started publishing the names and all that. And now the police have owned up. As I'm talking to you now, police have owned up. Yeah, there was a kidnapping. So why was the initial denial carried out? Why? Probably they are afraid of Donald Trump. Everything now is tied to what Donald Trump will do or how he will react. But you cannot cover up a 6-month-old pregnancy now. This is something that happened. 100 people taken into the bush. Is that what you want to hide? Instead of you to put machinery in place to preempt such things, to avoid the future occurrence, you are trying to hide it. That means you will not be interested in rescuing these people. That's just the simple truth. Because they are people of nobody. You know, they are not important, and they are Christians. Is that not the only reason?
Is that what you think is playing out here, Barrister? Because again, looking at the fact that we're talking about over 150 people, and across 3 different churches in a particular Sunday, being carted away by this unscrupulous aliens. Barrister, is this? I don't want to use the word unfortunate, because how much of a fortunate situation are we looking at here when the security operatives on one hand said this never happened in this state, and then on the other hand coming to say, okay, we have intelligence right now that it happened?
Now, events that followed after is even what is making me to be more suspicious. A Christian body said they used their vehicle to trace these kidnappers and their victims, because they said they went through the bush.
Yes.
They were walking on foot. So tracing them is very possible. You can see when large number of people are moving like that, you can see their movement from afar. You will see them moving inside the bush and all that. The irony is that it was the security agents, police and army that said no, they should go back. The same people who denied that nothing like that happened. Can you just imagine? And they have come out to tell the stories, and nobody has denied it. So, you see, when you begin to hear and see this type of thing, you now wonder, what government are we in? This government, are they serious about protecting the people? With what has happened so far, do you need to continue to give the impression that you don't care? Because that's the impression being created here. You don't care. And then tomorrow you said there is no genocide. You are not marginalizing Christians. You are not maltreating Christians.
Oh, well.
The very thing that Donald Trump is crying about.
Well, one of the major duties of any government is the protection of lives and properties.
Yes.
Let's take this conversation to Mr. Eugene. Mr. Eugene, personally, this is coming from the backdrop of the fact that the Kaduna state government has clearly said that relative peace have returned to Kaduna state, and they do not have this level of insecurity anymore. In fact, just about the same day, the former senator, I'm talking about Shehu Sani from Kaduna state, also said that Kaduna state is gaining all of the grounds when it comes to both insecurity, economy, infrastructure development, and that opposition figures in the state are just, on paper and not physical. How much of a lacuna are we seeing here when it comes to information gathering on the part of the security operatives, the part of the executive, and the people themselves?
Well, on information gathering, for such a thing to happen, you know that there was no intelligence, that you went to 3 locations to move that number of people within a specific period of time, and were able to move them out. There was within this period of action, you were not able to call the security operation to action. Well, and the denial that followed immediately when the news broke is understandable, because the government may not want to create panic and send the whole state or those involved into a state of hysteria. So, but that is that. But you know, this government has lived on half truth, telling us half truth. So credibility and believing what they say, anything they say is taken with suspicion. So that aspect of trying not to create panic theory will not hold water, because many people now don't have lost. Don't say anything the government says is being pointed to is caused by the opposition. So that in itself has set apathy on people's reacting to what anything government says. We take everything they say with a pinch of salt, because that has been the approach for almost about 10 years now since the APC took over government. So it's an issue that I don't know how they are going to guarantee us that our life is safe and that we can go about our due businesses, especially in that part of the country. Even here towards the south, when this thing happened, the fear is also there that it could be anybody, because we travel across the country, even amidst insecurity. So anybody could be a victim. So when it happens, government should try as much as possible to admit the truth. There is no point denying what has happened, then coming out again after a few days to tell us, okay, it actually happened, confirmed by a security agent. What are you doing? You are robbing yourself of the little credibility you have before the people. So they have to find ways and ensure that, look, yes, these things are reality. Admit your shortcomings, admit your limitations, and ask and let everybody seek and see how we can put hands together and support the government, whether within or outside. If you continue to deny, you are giving everybody to lose hope and confidence in the ability of the security apparatus to actually provide security to the citizens. So if anything happens, government should admit, not denying and coming a few days or a few hours to say, okay, it was true. Look at the time it has taken for you to agree that actually this thing actually happened in Kaduna State. And the issue of always blaming the opposition for anything that happens is what I don't understand. Opposition is there to promote its own idea, to discredit you, and to empower and to promote its own self. So the more opposition must be opposition. So government should now take responsibility for its shortcomings. I don't want to use the word failure. They should take responsibility for its shortcomings and begin to have an all-inclusive approach to this security matters.
Right,
we should not point fingers at opposition at any happening that they just want the government to fail.
All right, then. Well, I'm going to come to the studio here. Barrister, still on the part of the shortcomings of government when it comes to security. The appropriation of 2026 clearly has indicated that security is a top priority of the government, and that is why there is a large chunk of figure appropriated for security in Nigeria. Barrister, looking at these level of funding that have been plunged into our security system, particularly since the inception of democracy. And of course, looking at the recent level of killings and kidnapping across the country, do you think that government is doing the right thing by not only trying to increase funding when it comes to getting of equipment and of course equipping the military, or is there something else that the government needs to do better?
What the government needs is simple. One thing and one thing only. They will power. The same willpower that Donald Trump deployed in coming into Nigeria. David, I am telling you authoritatively, if not for Donald Trump, the Nigerian government was never willing to do what he did. That is just a fact. The Nigerian government is so docile, so laid back about this insecurity. And that was why Donald Trump said that we're a disgraced nation.
Well, Barrister, do you think that the willpower is not there for the government to wanting to increase figures that would be allocated for the security apparatus of the nation?
David, we have increased more than that before. Are you not aware? Look at how much we have spent in the days of Buhari and even now until Donald Trump who came to wake everybody up. The government was sleeping on this matter until Donald Trump came and he promised to come back. Maybe that is why they now started, in fact, they started naming some people who were sponsoring terrorism. Before now, did anybody talk to somebody like Malami and his co-travelers? That is what happened. So, in fact, I'm not even going to celebrate government yet until there is a logical conclusion of this thing. They should write out all the terrorists who are disturbing us. They should. Or else Donald Trump should come and help us.
Now, Barrister, on one hand, we are saying route out all these terrorists. In another breath, in Kaduna State, 70 suspected bandits are going to be thrown into the public again. Barrister, ADC clearly, of course, as an opposition figure, is making a statement. But how much impact would the reintegration of these bandits into the society going to have on the people of the state and, of course, Nigeria at large?
Two things are driving this insecurity, David. The moment it is removed from the equation, this problem will be solved. One is religion, one is tribe. Tribalism and religious bigotry. What else made the Kaduna State government to do what they did? They have sympathy for this boy because they are their people. They profess the same religion. That is all.
Same people who've maimed every other Nigerian living around them?
Well, they don't care. David, they don't care. Didn't they tell you that except you convert to Islam, you are a dead man or you start paying for your security? Is that not what they told us? So that will tell you how they care about you. No matter what you do, as long as you are in their good book, you are their own people, they will continue to cover you and pamper you. That is just the simple truth.
All right, then, Barrister, before we just wrap it up, let's take it to Mr. Eugene. Well, again, Mr. Eugene, this particular story of releasing 70 suspected bandits in custody of the Kaduna State government and, of course, Governor Diko Rada saying that, look, this guy should be brought back into the society for reasons, again, some have said has to do with ethnic bigotry and, of course, religious bias. What's your position with these kind of conversations? Plus, how much of an intelligence have the governor gathered as concerning security from these people that he's pushing back into the society?
Well, the governments, those in charge of government, do they actually know their responsibility in the first place? That's a question of a debate that we have to confront. Do they know their responsibility? Doesn't know what it means to be elected to an office or to have position of influence over a people? That is one aspect. The other one is that how can you take, say you have a bandit, a killer, a murderer, somebody who is raised to waste life, that he has been repented, rehabilitated, and you admit the person back into a society. How does that sound? I don't get it. It's so it's something that I can't wrap my head around it, because somebody has you are bringing the person back into a society, and a member of the society are victims of his actions. They see him, they see his family, and you want them to shake hands and say nothing happened. I don't know how that plays out.
Mr. Eugene, I'm sorry to cut you, but I want you to also juxtapose it with the fact that the Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi II, has also urged Governor Abba Yusuf, on one hand also, to sign the death warrant of convicted murderers, saying capital punishment would deter future crimes. So on one hand, one man is saying, look, take away anybody who's killed anyone. And on the other hand, another person is releasing 70 into the society.
Well, and they are members of the same faith. That means that even among them, they have different opinion about their belief system. So one is advocating capital punishment. The other one is asking for forgiveness of somebody who has not actually repented. How do you know that the man has actually repented deep within himself? How do you know that? Can you oversee what is happening in his heart? So for me, I think that they should be treated as criminals that they are, and there should be no pardon in this case. So it's an issue that, as Barrister said, is influenced by both ethnic and religious sympathy towards their fellow brothers. And in fact, anybody who is asking for forgiveness of a criminal should be well examined. He or she may do such a thing when he or she is no longer in power. The case of, look at what happened during the time of what we are saying, that Malamiha cache of arms in his house were discovered. A chief or enforcer of the law in the country through the justice system. Then you can see the level of impunity we are dealing with in this country as it involves this banditry, kidnapping, and terrorism.
All right, then, thank you.
So if at that height you can have that, then you can imagine what happens across the whole ecosystem of leadership of our political system in the North.
All right, and thank you so very much, Mr. Eugene, for that, your thoughts. Barrister, maybe in 10 seconds. On one hand, we have the governor of Kaduna State, Rada, and of course the emir of Kano saying two different things. The emir of Kano saying, look, governor of Kano State signed the death warrant charge on anyone who is a murderer. And on the other hand, Governor Rada of Kaduna State is saying, look, I'm going to free these people because they have repented, so to say. What do you make of this in just maybe 10 seconds?
It will take a long while before feudalism will be wiped out from the memory of northern leadership. They believe that this Talakawa, this downtrodden, should be there to do their dirty job. That is why they have sympathy for them, because they need them. They need them to perpetuate themselves in power. Sanusi may be talking because he's well-educated and all that, he's well-exposed. But the greater number of northern leaders are not sharing that opinion. That's why they keep having sympathy for these boys. All right, then. That's just the truth.
All right, then, Barrister, thank you so very much for being here. We've been talking with Barrister Darlington Agumo, a legal practitioner and also a public and political affairs commentator on the analysis segment of the Midday News. Barrister, thank you so very much for being here.
My pleasure.
Also, Mr. Osigwe Eugene, a public and political affairs analyst and commentator, thank you so very much for lending your voice on the analysis segment of the Midday News as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, then. We'll take a very short break right now. When we return, the National Orientation Agency has said that the National Assembly should criminalize foil scooping. These and more we'll be telling you when we return after the break. Please stay with us. Glad to have you back. It is still the Midday News right here on Voice of the People Television. Now to more stories. The National Orientation Agency has condemned the dangerous practice of foil scooping from falling tankers recently witnessed at Liverpool Bridge in Apapa, Lagos. NOA is calling on the National Assembly to urgently enact laws that criminalizes the act and impose strict deterrent penalties for offenders. The agency Director General Larry Isao Nilu said foil scooping is completely unacceptable, posing extreme and avoidable risk not only to those involved but also to motorists, nearby communities, emergency responders, and national infrastructure. He noted that NOA has long conducted nationwide sensitization campaigns to warn Nigerians about the danger, but despite repeated efforts, some individuals continue to engage in these life-threatening practices. In another development, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State has defended the recent clearance and demolition exercise in Makoko and other high-risk areas, saying it aims to protect lives, properties, and the environment. The governor has stressed that the government is not targeting entire communities, but removing residents from dangerous zones to prevent avoidable disasters. Our correspondent, Onyeka Ogolo, has more in this report.
Against criticism over recent demolitions in some waterfront and high-risk communities across the state. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says that the action are part of efforts to prevent disasters and create safer living spaces for residents, especially in areas close to waterways and high-tension power lines.
What we're doing
is that we're not we're not demolishing the whole of Makoko. We're clearing people not to get to Third Mainland Bridge and to stay off behind the high tension. We're aware that there are some local and international NGOs that want to profit from this. We're studying it and we're going to show you evidences. They've made so much money from international people and that they've asked for so much grant and wealth into those places, and it's just for them to cover their own lies and the fact that they've not done what they said they were going to be doing. That's why they're all shouting and crying more than the bereaved. And we're here to face them and to let them see the reasons why we have to do what we're doing. And I've also given instruction that whatever additional support we can give to them, we've been on this for 2.5 years. We have evidence, we have videos, we have communication that we've done for them for 2.5 years. 2.5 years. And I can share them with you. And so we cannot, be a lawless state of people. Something has to give at some point, because we cannot fold our arms and let calamity or disaster happens. You've done wrong, but government can still also show compassion and be compassionate about you. That's what this is all about, is to ensure that we all can live in a safe and secure environment where your own right ends is where another person starts, and we have the global responsibility to ensure that we continue to keep this place safe.
He explains the government is not demolishing the entire communities, but clearing people from zones considered dangerous to public safety. The governor also addressed concerns raised by advocacy groups and non-governmental organizations accusing some of exploiting the situation for financial gains. He said the state government has gathered evidence over the past 2.5 years, including videos and official communication, to show that some groups collected grants meant for the community development but failed to deliver on their promises. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu also said the government will continue to show compassion to affected residents, adding that the goal is to strike a balance between enforcement, safety, and the rights of the citizen. He assured Lagosians that his administration remains committed to building a safe and secure society for all. The Lagos State government says it will continue to engage community leaders and stakeholders while enforcing environmental standards as part of its broader plan to prevent avoidable disasters and improve public safety across the state. I am Monica Argola, reporting for VOP TV.
Well, thank you so very much, Onyeka, for that report. And from there on, we'll move straight to some business stories. The Nigerian Communication Commission has licensed 6 new internet service providers, increasing competition in the market already under pressure from mobile network operators. The update confirmed through the NCC licensing database raises the total number of licensed ISPs in Nigeria to 231. Up from 225 in December 2025, despite shrinking customer bases and growing market consideration. The new licenses come as traditional ISPs struggle with cheaper mobile data plans and rising competition from Elon Musk's Starlink. NCC data also reveals a strong geographic imbalance, with 5 of the 6 new ISPs based in Lagos and only one operating outside major commercial centers from Owerri in Imo State. The figures highlight continued growth in licensing, but uneven participation and persistent gaps in broadband distribution nationwide. Still talking business, global oil prices fell below levels critical to Nigeria's fiscal planning on Wednesday as fears of an unsupplied market and renewed geopolitical tension weighed on investor sentiment. Brent crude slipped towards $64 per barrel, falling below Nigeria's 2026 budget benchmark of $64.85, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate traded below $60 per barrel. The decline reflects heightened market volatility driven by supply concerns and expectations of sustained output from major oil producers. And from business to go to sports, where President of the Nigerian Football Federation, Ibrahim Gusau, has denied reports circulating on social media that he had a public spat with Fazil Legjar, President of the Federation Royale Moroccan de Football. The unverified claims allege that Gusau exchanged heated words with Legjar, who is also the first vice president of CAF, during a CAF Executive Committee meeting held in Morocco at the sidelines of the 2025 African Cup of Nations. Gusau also dismissed reports that he commented on the officiating of the semi-finals between the Super Eagles and Morocco. Still talking sports, Qatar Stars League side Al Ali SC have confirmed the signing of former Super Eagles captain William Truss Ekong. The experienced center back has signed a deal with the club until June 2028 and will wear his preferred number 5 jersey. Well, congratulations to Truss Ekong there. From there on, let's move to entertainment. Nigerian celebrity chef Hilda Bassi has reached another major milestone as Guinness World Records officially confirmed her as a 3-time record holder. The chef shared the news on Instagram, revealing that Guinness World Records recently informed her that she had set 2 records running her jollof rice cookout. While she initially believed she only broke the record for the largest serving of Nigerian-style jollof rice, Guinness later confirmed the same meal also set a new record for the largest serving of rice overall. Combined with her earlier record for the longest cooking marathon, the achievement makes Hilda a triple Guinness World Record holder, an honor she described as both shocking and heartwarming. And with that particular story, we've come to the end of the midday news right here on Voice of the People Television. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we're at Voice of the People TV, and on all other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. Thank you so very much for being a part of this broadcast. I am David Edwin. Do have a good afternoon.
In a world where power shifts with every headline,
in a nation full of questions,
in a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing.
And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together